So
All right.
before I even get into it, I'm looking at the desktop. I see a gear with the letter D for the logo for the game, and it says Project Cyber, not Arena Cyber Evolution. So that's kind of an interesting feature. We'll talk about that in just a second, but I definitely want to get things started here. So
Where did you see Project Cyber written?
So I Alt Tab, and when I look at my desktop, or when I look at my Start menu on the bar, I highlight it and it says Project Cyber 32-bit DX9.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think it might. I think I might know why. So actually, yes, the project used to be called Project Cyber, but to be honest, I should show what is the first thing we ever done for this game. Let me find it on YouTube. I will show it to you right now. And
Sounds
the
good.
thing is, when we started on Project Cyber, it was called Project Cyber. We had honestly no freaking clue where we were going with this project because we were kind of a bit out of funds and we needed like something to with a shit with a crazy momentum to happen super fast, and we needed it to be presented at PAX East
I
in
gotcha.
April, whereas it was not even started in January. We started like mid-January. So, okay, what we did is we made this video about open, transparent development because we believe back then it would become a trend, and we also believe that it is the best way, the most sane way and logical way based on current technology to develop a game. And okay, I'm trying to find the video.
While you're trying to find that, I actually should run the official little intro speech thing. So, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Who's Gaming Now, Who's Developing Now show. Here we have the awesome folks, specifically Simon from Spearhead Games. Um, this is a developer of, among other things, Arena Cyber Evolution. That's the game that you've got shown on the screen there. It is an awesome game. It is a 3v3 eSport sort of sports game. It's not like a MOBA or anything like that where it's control the lanes and kill little squishy things to get money. No, not at all. Nothing like that. It's a lot more like say like a football, soccer, rugby sort of feel to it. Very, very awesome game. So, Simon, why don't you let people know who you are, introduce yourself, tell them what you do on the project here.
Okay, so I found the video, so this is good news. So yeah, my name is Simon Darveau. I am. But when you work at indie, so normally my core job is game designer. This is what I've been doing most of my career for Ubisoft. So I've been a game designer on Assassin's Creed 2, a close design on Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, lead game designer on 4, design director on 3, in this order. So
Nice. That's
yes,
pretty
because
awesome.
yes, because actually I was the first employee on Assassin's Creed 4, and then they needed help on 3, so I went on 3 after I was on 4. So and then we started this studio Spearhead Game with Malik because we really felt like there is so much room for innovation and bring new idea and to develop games in a new way, a more sane way. We felt, and there's tons of products that were not even thought about so far. So we just wanted to explore a bit more, to innovate, to make some gameplay R&D. This is more or less like our core as a studio to kind of find breakthrough. We are actually trying to find new ways to do new things. This is what we're about. And what I do in the studio actually is, but for our first game, I was mostly, I would say, level design director and producer. So I am what at Ubisoft they called me the closer. So I am really good at making stuff happen. So yeah, I am always producer, but in this case, right now, at the current moment, I am actually UI user interface game designer because I felt like this was one of the topics that, as a designer, when you are in the triple industry, it is the topic you always want to stay away from because it sounds to be the less prestigious place you can be. But at the same time, we just kind of realized that yes, it's cool. We are good at making gameplay. We prototype fast. We are good at innovating. But at one point, our presentation skill are really not on par with industry standard, and we need to get better at that. We need to learn and understand how the meta works, how the UI works, and I decided to tackle it. So right now I am in the process of learning this expertise. So you will see in the next patch a freaking huge boost on this aspect. Right now when you play, you see the current UI, which kind of was honestly a bit neglected. We did not put much focus so far on it. But and Tiny Brains had the same issue as well. So I decided that okay, let's stop being all about gameplay and like consider and learn about the other aspect needed to make a good game as well.
I agree. Something that I say a lot of times when I come across a clunky game is that it's not violent games or the graphics of the games that make people violent. It's poor interfaces and poor UI and that sort of stuff because it makes a frustrating gameplay experience. And being frustrated is what really makes people angry and violent. So
So
you know
yeah, all the violent about video game talks about the wrong topic, right?
Yeah. Like here's the case in point. If I'm doing really good at like say Call of Duty on a console or something, I'm just shooting people left and right. I'm celebrating, but I'm not like throwing my controller across the room. Versus I'm playing like some horribly murderous puzzle platformer that's got smooth controls like say Super Meat Boy, and I'm just the frustration's building up, and finally I'm like right at the last thing, the last little buzzsaw just barely catches me. And I throw my controller across her. You see, Super Meat Boy isn't necessarily a violent game. It's almost the character suffering a whole lot, but it's more the idea that a game that's frustrating is what's going to make people really angry about the subject. So frustrating to play, and I wouldn't say that Ace is necessarily frustrating in its current state, though there are some things that I would like to get a little bit more information on, like when me and two other players are all kind of grouped up trying to fight back and forth for who has the disc. Sometimes it gets confusing to tell, what series of actions you need to be the one who grabs the disc and gets away with it versus somebody else doing it. Sometimes it almost feels like it's, up to latency if you're playing against players with a little bit of distance between them. So I guess that's something that I would want maybe a little bit more clarity on, because that's, I would say, the biggest thing where I feel like I don't have any control over the situation. That if I come out with a disc, I get lucky.
So okay, so you mentioned a lot of different issues, and most of them are getting addressed right now. So one of them is latency. So yeah, right now the way so honestly, when we released the game, we thought that peer-to-peer architecture would be good enough because also, to be honest, dedicated server architecture is way more complicated to set up, more expensive to maintain, and like takes a lot of bandwidth. So we hoped that peer-to-peer would do the trick, but like in the current optimized version of the game, if you since it's a peer-to-peer architecture, it means that among the six player, one of them will be chosen to be the host. So if this host does not have a great computer, a great internet connection, and the will to not cheat,
Yeah.
you will not have a good experience. So it tends to ruin experience for a lot of people. So we kind of decided to address it by developing it with powerful dedicated server. And we did try for the first time on Thursday and Friday, and it works. We have a server now in Oregon, based in Amazon, and finally we have a good experience, which means that having a bad experience will only be caused by you having a bad connection or you having a bad, which
Yeah.
is legit, right? If you don't have a good if you So if you have a good connection, you should have a good experience, and you will with the dedicated server. So this will fix this part. As for the confusion, like when a lot of people want to get the puck at the same time, we are developing simple communication tool. We don't want to support chat. It's an open decision we've made because like of toxic player, we don't like. It's easy like to start trolling each other and have a game that will be filled that becomes filled with hate. So what we want is to actually give you, for starter, two different commands. One of them will say, pass me the puck." It will put an exclamation mark over your head. It will make the pass line blink, and so it will be the one button to say, I am available, please send me the puck. And the other button will say, I got it. So when you are going toward the puck, it will just like highlight the puck, and it will put a line between you and it to kind of signify to everyone that it's yours. So these two commands we feel will fulfill 90% of what the player are trying to say to each other.
Now,
So
this is going to be almost a weird implementation to try to do, but is there any way you'd be able to implement with the microphone to actually pick up when a player says that one of those two commands, or something they've recorded that they use to communicate that command in game, so that way they don't need to reach away from their gameplay area in order to communicate that? And if voice integration's actually implemented, that they would actually be able, the other people would actually hear it on top of seeing it visually.
honestly, it sounds like a freaking good idea. We did not consider it yet, but I will discuss it with Malik on Monday. I really like the idea.
Awesome.
Yeah, because we were also struggling at what is the, so we wanted to put it like on E and Q, but right now we cannot because we are supporting AzertC at the same time as QWERTY, and it makes that some of these buttons are already taken. So, and we don't want to put them too far. So we could not figure what was the best control for these commands. And I do admit that potentially, if there was a way to just say them, it would be just way better, because it is what intuitively you do anyway when you play. So
What are ZX and C used for? I can't quite recall.
what is what?
The keys Z, X, and C.
By Z is the same as W, because on the AzertC French keyboard, the Z is that it occupies the space that W occupies. So
Oh, okay.
instead of having WASD, they have ZASD.
I see. Because that's on
So
a.
we support multiple keyboard configuration with a single button mapping. So this is why there are some button map at location that you don't understand why exactly.
I getcha. Well, that actually it makes sense, but I guess that's where I would put it if I was trying to make a really quick place to hit the things. Is just press Z for I got it, or press X for pass it to me, or something like that, because it's very close to where you're already at, and it's not like you're doing more than at most a very quick break from the action to move your finger over to hit it. But it's something that can be worked out. There's plenty of time to work on the project and work through that sort of stuff, and there might be many like best solutions for it. So I'm definitely excited to see what gets worked out for it.
Yeah, definitely. This is something that we will keep iterating on, and I think that it does make sense for us to do the project in such a transparent way, because it's honestly. Do you know Elric de Melniboné, this series of books? Have you
No,
ever read? He
no, I
has
haven't.
he has a sword that is called Stormbringer, and Stormbringer is in this novel the most powerful sword that exists in the world, but it's very dangerous as well because it has its own intelligence, and it wants also to possess the bearer as much as the bearer wants to possess it. And I do feel like right now this is what community is. It's the most powerful, strongest, and like edgiest sword in the world, but at the same time it can really burn you. And I speak about it because I have some of my friends in the indie community that are developing transparently and that are getting raped right now by their community. So it is really kind of a risky thing to do. But I felt like it was the right one to do for us, since we are really sincere in our effort to involve the community in it. And we are also extremely efficient and fast in developing the game. So yes, we are really in this mindset where we do listen to what.
Oh no! Whoops! I hope the internet didn't die over there. Oops. Oh man. Skype. Well, while that's going on, I can
Do you hear
hey.
me?
Yeah. Now I can hear
Okay,
you.
so I am speaking on my phone right now because for no apparent reason my PC decided to shut down to update, or I don't know what. So
Oh no.
so anyway, I don't know where you lost me, but my point was actually to say that we are yes, we keep developing the game, and we do listen very closely, and we actually make table and stats with that showcase what are the feedback that comes the most, what are the sentences that are said the most often on the forum, on Twitter, everywhere. We just make a pool of that, and we make sure to always address what is felt like the biggest issue. Which doesn't mean that we are listening like precisely to what people tell us what to do, because sometimes when someone tells you something, it might mean that the same Tom is not exactly what he thinks, but what we do believe is that if you say something, there is a problem.
Right, right.
So we are in the process of really tackling the most efficiently possible, and honestly, I think it starts progressively paying off, because more and more the YouTuber and journalists who are reviewing the game are the guys who reviewed it like 3 or 4 months ago or 6 months ago, and they see the freaking crazy difference. And honestly, what we did, like, because we are 7th month in the project now, at this level of momentum does not exist anyway. So I think that for us, in our case, it's really paying to open ourselves and like to showcasing. And what I like also is that we have made a Twitch every single day at 7 p.m. on our channel, and we have archived all these episodes on YouTube, which means that if we are ever like really successful, for instance, we will have the recipe and the manual of instruction of how do you get from you have no clue what you're doing to you have a successful game, and the entire recipe will be like stated on our channel, and we will be proud to share that with the developer community as well as the players.
Well, okay, but keep in mind, this is a recipe that also comes from a bunch of veterans with a really, huge background in developing and producing games. I don't know if an indie crowd would be able to like, oh yeah, we can just do this because, well, they might have the time and the passion, even the skill. They might not have the same kind of organizational skills as you guys have worked on a lot of stuff. I'm sure you've had been under the pressure and really a lot of things even before working on this project. And it sounds like this project, you guys have just been kind of constantly under pressure and constantly
Yes.
working and continuing with things.
I suppose that yeah, part of what makes us that fast is the fact that we want to survive.
Makes sense.
so so yes, it does really fuel us. But when I say the crowd, I do agree that we have like some like we have no programmer that has less than 10 years of experience, for instance.
Yeah.
So yes, we have like strong guys. But for me, so I think that there are kind of multiple principles that for anyone it could give them a head start to at least figure where do you start from. Like for instance, what was the first thing we did when we started to make the game, and how did so what was the foundation and how did we build the game around
which foundation. So I think this is great to know. But for me, any game developer, any veteran AAA game developer, in my opinion, is a future indie. For me, it is super clear that the industry is making a huge shift right now, and when if you just watch in Montreal, there's been like, so right now there's 52 identified indie company in Montreal, 48 of which were founded after 2010, which means that actually all the veterans, all the strong, talented guys from the AAA industry are right now in the process of developing a new sector of the industry, building like studios that are about creation and about expressing what they want to express and about like really craftsmanship and not production. So this is happening right now, and I do believe that anyway, the paradigm of video game development is in the process of really switching from production to innovation. I think this is what's happening, and this means that indie will become like. I think that it's not, indie is not the right. It's not the right way to explain it. But by indie, what I mean is innovative studio and not production studio.
Right.
I think those will grow, they will multiply, and they will like cover, in my opinion, maybe 80% of the industry by 10 or 20 years.
It definitely seems like, people having the independence to work on things the way they want to is really helpful. And, I know a lot of people go from a large company like Disney or Microsoft or Ubisoft, or there's a lot of huge companies out there, and they'll go and make a small company and they'll make an awesome game, and it'll be a lot of fun. One other thing that I really appreciate about what you guys are doing is, whoops, I missed that one. I really never liked the fact that Ubisoft was really closed. Like, I would see them at conventions all the time, just missing these. I would constantly see them at conventions at E3 and GDC, and I'd constantly be trying to follow up with them about the Might and Magic series, because me and my friends were really big fans of Legends of Might and Magic, and we'd been trying to see if we could get access to the source code so we could upgrade the game and do more with it and kind of breathe more life into it. And we never really got to hear back from them. It wasn't until one of our buddies actually started up a pretty substantial fan project that we really started getting any any of us got anywhere, and that was like 10 years after the game was after 3DO was bankrupt and sold off the Might and Magic series to Ubisoft. So they definitely very closed off, and we just really couldn't get in contact with them at all. So that's a completely different contrast to what we've got right here. You guys have got this game going for a very short period of time, and yet you've been extremely public about it and really community forward. That's something that really helps, and it really it's great for making sure that the people who are playing the game are giving the basically the best feedback and the best information they can beyond just the data that you guys can already collect from watching games. It's great. Like it's such an awesome, powerful way to develop. More companies have been taking it on. Sony Online are working on it quite a bit. These guys are just juking me out. I keep forgetting to do my right click.
But to be honest, I have the intimate conviction that this will have a tremendous impact on how every future video game in the future will be developed. But I think that it will reshape, honestly, everything else as well. What I mean is, yes, the game developer, we are quite edgy. We are kind of like using the latest technology in the very innovative way, and therefore we are doing ways and doing things in ways that were never experimented before. We tend to be like doing stuff before the other industries. But for me, it seems clear that with the current technology and medias and like tools that we have as a species, we can have anyone at any moment on the planet on any problem when required, as long as required, and this is what we are going toward, right? And I think that the way we manage ourselves, like in terms, I would say, almost as politics, in the way we create, the way we manage any single creative project will be completely reshaped. I think that like the way most of our stuff work still today is based on old principle, and like it's not based on, it does not really take into account the fact that in my pocket at any moment of the day I have access to every person in the world and all the knowledge of our species.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so this is where we are now. So I do believe that for me the way we are still developing most games does not make any sense anymore, and I do believe like that if we start developing the culture and the methodology and the way to leverage all this collective intelligence, we will just grow massively as a species.
Pretty much.
For me, this is more than video game. This is where we are, and this is the challenge we're facing. And for me, whenever you are developing video games and you're not challenging new avenues, trying to find new ways to do things, or trying to create new types of things, you are not fulfilling your role and responsibility, in my opinion.
That's true. Was that something that you felt was kind of lacking with more of the corporate stuff that you were doing before you started with Spearhead?
If it was something that missed with what?
That like was kind of lacking, like when you were working on the Assassin's Creed series, did you feel like there was really a lot of kind of progress and development going on there, or did you feel like it was just kind of grinding sequels at some point and just minimal upgrades and minimal new technology and things coming out of it?
But to be honest, for me it would not reach the level of challenge and innovation that I need to reach.
I getcha.
I do respect Ubisoft, honestly. I do believe that as far as big AAA company go, they are doing quite well, and they are bringing new stuff on the table constantly. I mean, Assassin's Creed 4, it might not be the most innovative game of all times, but it certainly is not the least innovative game of all times. So
right.
It's as far as big studio go, I do like how they iterate, how they kind of take a project and they switch it from team to team, and that kind of add each time a new thing to it. So they have a lot of good things, but in terms of culture, I do believe that much more can be achieved with video games than products. And for me, I needed to kind of go and build my own thing to see where I could lead this boat. So this is I wanted to explore new avenues. And to be honest, I do realize that being too innovative and being too edgy is not much better for your mental stability. In the sense that when you don't know where you're going and you don't have predefined solution and you don't have like established knowledge of what you're doing in your community, it creates like tons of problems that are extremely complicated to solve, and that like put you in a state where it's a bit difficult. So it's a question of it's a matter of balance, and honestly, potentially we have been counterbalancing a bit too much. So we are trying to find our sweet spot right now. But yes, the reason why I left is because I wanted to explore, to see what we could explore, and I just felt like, okay, my feeling basically was that it did not make that much sense to keep following the same trade routes that we know, where the entire ocean deserves to be explored, and there are so many massive things to be discovered if you go out of the trade routes. This is how I felt.
I getcha. Yeah, I can see. I mean, I would say that a lot of the larger studios are starting to get better about getting more innovation in the games, but compared to what we see with indie developers, it's I almost think of the the old French art salon thing where that's where you'd have the art put up everywhere, and that's where art culture rated everything, and there was certain hierarchy of things that were considered fine
One second,
art.
I am switching back to my PC, so I just need to
All right.
to close my phone. Okay, 1 second.
I promise I'm coming to a good point here, folks. Alright, let's actually get a real game going here.
Do you hear me?
Yep,
Okay, cool. Okay, all right. Sorry for the interruption.
that's fine. Alright, so I'm starting up an online game right now. I see 2 more players found. That's totally awesome. So anyway, what I was going to be saying is the idea of the French art salons. I think it was late 17s, early 1800s, where all of the fine art had to be things that fell into these certain categories, and something that deviated in different ways. Those were the things that really pissed people off, the hoity-toity art community. But those are the things that we look back in history as being the masterpieces of the era, as well as the things that we really remember as things that defined the time. It wasn't the 500 female nudes that Joe Schmo did. It was the one where the females are looking at the viewer instead of away from the viewer. That was the one that made everyone mad, and that was the one that we'll remember to this day. So
But the thing for me, so I like your comparison, but I think one that I like even more is I feel because like this is in terms of art, and I do believe that video game could be an art, even though it's not my core message. But what I do believe it is the most powerful media. It like involves putting multiple person in contact through interactive interface, and it is way more powerful than writing, for instance, in terms of what could be achieved and developed and created with it, right? And we discovered this thing like more or less 30 years ago, right? And so imagine, and people, I have talked with some people at some point telling to me, yes, but like most of game have been discovered yet, right? It's like now we just keep iterating, but like, and I'm the fuck, we developed this media 30 years ago. Imagine 30 years after they invented writing, how much they were far from discovering that you can store information, you can create a political current using writing, you can make a novel, a poem, like all those things that took freaking thousands of years to discover, and we are like at the freaking baby, like early baby state of what can be done with this medium. So seriously, for me, like at this point, it does not make sense to kind of cut. I was getting crazy. I was getting crazy, honestly, because it makes no point to. It makes no sense to get confined in this what we discovered when the media did not even started. In my opinion, we are not like even at 1% of what we can do with this thing. It's obvious that this thing will become like grandiose and like it will encompass every other sphere of the society, and it will just keep. And I think that finally, what we see right now is the bricks cracking a bit. We see like finally like the current structure cannot prevent the current from flowing. It's like with stories like Minecraft, Riot, like people who establish new things, new way to do things, and that don't cost a fortune. So this is what is cool with those games is that these are smaller projects. But okay, Riot has become gigantic, but it started as a smaller thing that is an RTS where you control one character.
Yeah.
And now they are kind of they prove that when you have a smart, ingenious, new, innovative idea, you can actually generate as much as when you have an army of 10,000 people doing your work and they build just a massive cathedral. So I do believe that we are seeing the beginning of this change of area, and I do believe that if we leverage it properly, we can really generate a current of optimism and that we can influence the society in a good direction.
Absolutely, and I say that video games are really the most advanced form of art that exists, but really the most advanced technology as well. In terms of art, it's because it takes all forms of art that existed before and encompasses them in one specific media. And I would say the same is true of technology as well, be it computers or mobile devices getting into virtual reality. We have games that aren't even visual, that are played 100% audio. Things are pretty awesome with games, and like you said, it really is just the start. As technology improves, as the ability to make games and scoring mechanisms improves, we're going to be able to do a lot more stuff. All sorts of just real world sorts of games. Like I could see something being built into cars. Like the closer you come to slowing down at right exactly where the stripe is on your car when you're at a stop sign or a stoplight or something, the more points you get. So people get better at driving just because there's a game that rates them on how close they're getting and how slowly they're coming into it or how quickly they're coming into it or whatever. I'm sure there's better examples. That's, I guess, the best one I could come up with while I'm trying to not get defeated here.
Yes, I'm watching your match at the same time as well. No, but yes, I think that what video game has made is they created a new a new type of worker that are actually psychological R&D guys. Like, we are game designer, psychological researcher. This is the core of our job, right? What we do is we create artificial interactive context. We observe people's behavior in those contexts, and we iterate on the context until they generate the right stimuli in the brain, right? This is actually what we fundamentally do. So I do believe that we are kind of cracking more and more. And the funny thing is what we are doing, in terms of finance, what the most successful of us are doing is they are trying to kind of create this Skinner box that encourage this one behavior, that is spend money. So they kind of create a software that reward player who spend money from their credit card. Actually, if you watch it from a high level perspective, this is what Candy Crush does, right? And so the thing is, we are tracking more and more how the brain works, and as opposed to many of other people who kind of look at the brain, like in our case, it's really measurable how well we did, because like the ones of us who do succeed, you can measure in millions of dollars how much money they get. So we are the guys who make research on brain psychology, and when we succeed, we make millions of dollars, which means that there never were people like studying as closely and intensively this aspect of the people. And this means that once we will have understood better and like mapped it better, we will be able, if good wins against evil, to use actually this knowledge to reinforce good behavior and commendable attitude and stuff like that. And I do agree that this is where we could go. I do believe, like right now, people think that free-to-play is the end of real gaming, and that it's evil everywhere.
It's just the beginning, actually. I love it.
But I do believe there is actually a war of good versus evil. There is like the guys like Riot who don't make a large RPU, average revenue per user. Actually, they almost make the worst RPU of the industry. But they are kind of trying to build something clean and durable, and like where they would be able to rely on their community. They really have the intention and the objective, and it's not just fake. I spoke with tons of their developers, and they are really in this mindset that they want to establish something clean and something great. And there's like those who just are trying to the way they look at the problem is, how can we incite and encourage the maximum amount of spend from the player? How can we? So they try to figure what was this stimuli that make the player spend, and they try to reinforce and enlarge it and to make it happen more often
Right.
and more efficiently, and those are evil. So there is like the battle of good versus evil right now. But like if the technology allows for as much breakthrough as I believe it does, I believe that we will become more optimistic and more inclined to do good. So
I will definitely say there are some violators out there, like Nexon selling $20 for pretty underwear and Vindictus. That's a little weird to me, but they keep on making those sales. And I suppose people being able to customize the gameplay experience they want to, but no, I definitely agree with you. Like, something that the monetization model can definitely be something that really shows if they're there for the players or if they just want a cash grab. And it's something that you can really tell just by looking at the prices of things, how much it costs to buy their currency versus how what you can actually get with it. And some games are really good about it, and some games companies are really bad about it. But I would say that a lot of what Riot's doing is really awesome, because not only do they have all the things that you can spend money on, but honestly, there's a lot of things that you don't need to spend money on. Just be able to get your character at the most powerful level. You can just do that with regular gameplay, and you get there pretty quickly. So, I mean, there's definitely none of that, like, pay to win, or you can't buy skins that make it easier to play in any way. So I've just unlocked...
Yeah, but it is also like Kickstarter. So Kickstarter is used by two different type of people who are really credible and who do really believe in the future of this thing and who want to develop more openly their community and get budget based on like what their community believe. And there are the guys who actually are trying to use it as a scam, who don't have a real project, they don't have a real portfolio, and they don't have a real objective to create a project, and that really they don't know really how to make a project, and they will really burn themselves. So in both cases, I think that, like, yes, you can make more money if you really try to make money, but at the same time, if you do respect your community, if you are really sincere and legit in what you're trying to accomplish, then you will get your next Kickstarter and your next Kickstarter and your next Kickstarter, and you will actually build something that grows instead of just like getting a quick cash grab and going nowhere with it. So I do believe that actually good has also a strong reason to exist, because it's also much more beneficial as well, I think, in the long term, to be respectful and to be sincere in what you say.
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen a lot of projects that were kickstarted and came with the best of intentions, but I keep hearing that glass rolling around or whatever it is. Some sort of weird, like, glassy or ceramic-y sound over on your end. But anyway, yeah, I've seen a lot of projects that have the best of intentions, but they falter and fail because of either not knowing what they're doing, or they know what they're doing but they overspend on stuff. I don't want to start just naming off projects, but there is one, or actually two, Mighty Number 9, I believe. They raised like just a shit ton of money, but they spent it all really quickly. And when they did their video apologizing and asking for more, begging for more money, I realized where it all went. It was that nice fancy office that they've got for everybody. So, that, and then if you want to back it after the campaign or whatever, now there's the slacker backers or whatever. It's like, oh, well, you were too lazy to back us the last time, so now you can still do it. That's, I don't know. I think that's
But so
sleazy.
those guys, so yes, they did get money, and I think they did get again money when they re-asked for it. But honestly, they are not like working really in the sense of their own interest by not fulfilling their promise. Because if they did, for instance, really delivered the Mighty Number 9 the way they promised, and like with the money that should have been sufficient to do it, I don't know what were the issue. I don't want to judge them. I am not really that much aware of this one, but I'm just using that as a school
Right.
case.
Right.
Because I'm not judging this specific case, I don't know enough about. But what I'm saying is just if they did deliver like in a very nice and efficient and timely fashion, then they could ask again to the community and they would receive again. And honestly, the one I am extremely scared about right now, I hope they do deliver, is what's the name? Stars, the one that
Star
has like 40
Citizen?
million. Yes, seriously, this one has to work. Fuck.
Yeah. I think. Well, I don't think the like the Eve community and other big communities like that would let it. There's a lot of games out there that have a lot of that appeal, but don't quite have the scale. So the fact that Star Citizen really is like the real deal, that's totally awesome, and I really do hope it does well. I haven't really played it myself. I watched some
No,
people play it a bit, and it seems like a lot of fun.
yeah, the this is one of the project that really opens those new gate and that like allow people to fund and participate in a project. And I think I really hope that the thing is they so much money has been put as this one and this is so high profile that if it does not work, it will really hurt. It will hurt everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I can think of another project that had some issues that was unfortunately Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, where Brad McQuaid, who was one of the creators of EverQuest and then Vanguard Saga of Heroes, which just was discontinued this year. Um, Unfortunately, he kind of embezzled a bunch of money from the project and did that prematurely. And then when they were out of money, he came out and issued an apology saying, "Yeah, I totally embezzled a bunch of money. But hey, we're still going to continue with development of the game. It's just going to be volunteer only going forward." So, the game's still going to happen. It's just not going in a way that, really feels well managed. And I get when somebody comes out and says, "Hey, yeah, I took a bunch of money from the project. Sorry, folks." It doesn't really seem very genuine. It seems like somebody that was kind of out for themselves, and oh yeah, they're leveraging this project to kind of make ends meet or whatever. I hope it gets made, and I hope it's a good game, but it's a really unfortunate circumstance for things to go that way.
But to be honest, making a game is extremely hard. Honestly, it is the hardest thing you can ever do because you need to be, on one hand, extremely creative and open and like discussion prone and like just humble and with the vision to really like catch the opportunities that happen and like all these sensitivities qualities, but at the same time you need to be extremely firm, rational, able to close, kill, like shut down, cut, like all those. And you need to kind of be extremely good at both, and you need to have like this internal meter to know exactly at which moment you need to where you have to put the meter to at this moment of the project. And I do understand that like when you're attached to your feature, to the idea that if you add just this one more week, it could add this feature that would give sense to everything that you developed so far. And honestly, at one point, if you're not rational enough, you will. It's never just 1 week. It's one more month, and then it causes tons of more bug. And like if you don't have like the cleverness to, so and so this is one thing that actually Ubisoft did teach me. Like you do learn how to ship, close, finish, and honestly, I do understand that like if you did not receive like the proper training and the right habits, like finishing a game, honestly, even when you are well trained, you suffer. And this is like something emotionally hard, and it is there's no way for it to be easy. So I do believe that you need to be extremely well trained and in super good mental health during the duration of the process of the project. Both of these things, otherwise it is about to fail. So I do understand that the project tend to fail. It's really a difficult thing to make happen, and each time I have this concept that I call the soul point. Because depending on how hard is a project, I do believe that I have a limited amount of soul points, and each time I finish a project, I spend a couple of soul points.
Kind kind of investing yourself in each project, yeah.
But I do believe that I can achieve so much before like my my soul is completely corrupted. But the picture is just to tell you how difficult I consider it is to make a game happen properly. So for me, I kind of developed this expression of soul point to kind of represent the level of pain and personal investment that is required to ship a game through the door. So. It does require to kill some. It requires to kill something innocent that does not deserve to die, and to kind of but you need to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
No, but this is one of my trick when I need to close. I do sometimes what I do call kill innocence, and this is the one technique that I use to make everyone realize that now it needs to be finished. So what killing innocent for me is to cut a feature that people wanted and that did not really needed to be cut. Because that makes everyone realize, okay, fuck, if we don't finish, we are in this state of mind where things are getting removed from the game. So it kind of switched the toggle in everybody's mind that, okay, now we need to finish our thing and make it work properly, otherwise stuff is getting removed now from the game. It kind of opened this.
Did you ever put in X features when you worked on projects at Ubisoft? Things that were really awesome features that people were excited about, but you knew going into it, when it gets towards the end of the project, these are the ones I'm going to drop the axe on first to really light the fire under everybody.
So what is your question? If I ever saw it?
If you ever went into a project introducing features that you know that you would end up getting rid of later on, specifically like to get people in action, and if you never have to do that, then hey, you've got 3 new awesome features that you can get in the game that wouldn't have been there before. Anything like that, or not really?
I am more the other guy. I am the guy who removed the features more than the guy who. But honestly, I think I have been well trained. I had this lead game designer that was called Patrick Lourdes, who has been actually the creative director for Child of Light. He is really a strong design closer, probably the best one that is in Montreal. And I think that having him above me really taught me really well about all those concepts. This is really like a mastery that I acquired early in my career. So I would be more the guy who helped people with that than people who would have problem with that.
Gotcha. Free this week. So you do have rotations of which guys are free each week, which players. What are they actually referred to as?
We call them runners. So yeah, we did not talk too much about the game so far. So yes, we have 8. So at the moment of the next push, that should be. So we wanted November 3rd, but right now we are aligning to actually have somewhat stealth push on November 3rd, where we push the dedicated server, but just with our community, and we don't make any marketing push, and we just stabilize it for 1 week before making the real media push. So at the moment of the real media push, November 10th, we will have 8 champions. So there's 2 new guys coming, a new goalie and a new striker, and there will be 2 characters free each week.
Nice. Yeah, goalie is something I've been wondering about because I've only been seeing the negotiator on both sides.
So yes, we have a new one. Honestly, but he's called Sentinel. He looks a bit like an Apple product. I feel he is another robot. So he is another robot, but more round and slick. And honestly, I think he is cooler than. Personally, I prefer play him than Negotiator. He is a bit less aggressive because Negotiator can be a bit more aggressive in the sense that his right-click power can allow him to push the guys back, and while they hold the disc, and he can also teleport back, which means that it's easy for him to support the attack without taking too much risk. So this other one is a bit more defensive oriented, But so a secondary of the new one is to create an energy pillar that will remain them for a few seconds. So he can, for instance, block the path to someone or cover part of the goal. And his ultimate power create like a barrier that starts from him and that goes all the way to the end of the arena in the direction he's facing. So this kind of cut any attempt of escape and make an unpassable barrier for a while. So he's really fun to play, honestly, and his ultimate power does feel epic to use. So it is the most powerful feeling of ultimate that we have so far.
Nice.
So yes, then the next roller will be fun, I think. We have also a new striker that is called Praxis. He is very small. He's a tiny little guy that seems hyperactive and that always runs even when you don't run, you run. He's really like, he wants to move, he looks like that. But honestly, he's not as well nailed. I am not 100% satisfied yet with what we have with this guy. He is based a bit on vengeful. His ultimate power is actually the same thing as the right click of Negotiator, but it has unlimited range.
Oh wow!
So it is much more powerful. So instead of by putting it unlimited range and like making it super powerful, it becomes actually a striker power. So this one is cool, but the secondary is not nailed yet. So but yeah, we will have those 8 characters. We were trying at first to have like 10, 11, but we decided that we needed to fix too many things before starting to produce too many characters. So yes, there will be 8 characters. There will be revamped AI. Malik has been working on it for 2 weeks non-stop now. So there will be completely revamped UI. There will be dedicated server. And also a lot of gameplay tweak and feedback improvement. So we are overhauling the entire ring around the character so you can read better what's happening. The grab feedback, we make the disc clearer, we improve the sound, the secondary cooldown. So honestly, massive freaking patch that is coming soon. So
that's awesome.
That will be, yeah.
So something I've been wondering about. We see these events that happen in the arena every now and then. Is there going to be something added where maybe the viewers watching on Twitch are able to influence these events and be able to cause them to start up?
So this is really the reason why this feature exists, is to go there. Our first design was really to make it happen, but like we are trying to prioritize as well as we can, and before going there and creating those super cool spectator option, we really want to nail the core a bit better. But yes, definitely this is something that the reason why those even exist is so actually we are thinking of so much more depth in this. We want actually so we are actually speaking with Twitch right now about those features, and they seem to be interested. So we want, for instance, when you join a Twitch channel, that the channel asks you who do you want to win. So who are you a fan of? And actually, the one team with the most fan would receive, I don't know, VFX or better towns, or like the crowd and the banners in the stadium would go, like the stadium would be affected by the real player watching it, and it would kind of really make it clear who's the favorite and who's the underdog.
I would say also allow people, if they want to just vote for an individual player on the team instead of the entire team, because if they're just a fan of one particular person, that'll further help to show, oh, this person's the star player.
Yeah, so okay, it is a good idea. We have considered also like adding actually stuff like where you can almost parachute stuff like in Hunger Game or I don't know what. But the thing is, you are aware there is a 30-second delay.
Yeah.
And it actually limits how much you can do those cool things. But yes, we would really so if they ever remove this delay, which they said they would not, but if they ever remove it, we would be proud to actually allow players to show their support and empower their favorite players. And also, so yes, and then we want to create much more event and actually have the fans voting for which event will happen through the Twitch interface, so that For instance, if you know that your favorite team is really good in this kind of context and the other one is not, then you cannot like make them win per se, but you can at least decide which context will happen to kind of increase and like even though it's not a theoretical advantage, it could be a real advantage if they are more trained in the ice context or something. So yeah, we feel like by doing that we can make the spectator actually feel involved in backing their team and making something significant to help them win. So
Gotcha.
yes, we are Yep.
That's really
we are
cool.
definitely exploring that.
I would say another thing is to get away from the issues with latency. You could also have it as a feature of observers watching the game through the game client. So that way, they can also see it, but be voting on things in real time.
Okay, you mean like building our own client? That's what you said?
Well, you've already got the ability to watch what's going on in the game, right?
The client mode.
So
the spectator mode.
yeah, so it would be basically building the ability to vote on things and do that sort of stuff into the in-game spectator mode. So if you want to be more in tune, and then potentially having the Twitch channel chat room available while you're watching, that'd be another fun sort of thing. But yeah, I really, I like that there's Twitch integration is going to be more than just an afterthought with the game. A lot of games that have Twitch integration, it really is just kind of an afterthought. Choice Chamber is a game where that is not the case. That's a game where pretty much the player is playing against the arena that's being voted on by the viewers. So that game, you need viewers to really be able to enjoy it properly, and that's part of the fun of it. But not very many games really have that much advanced integration with Twitch, and I think it's a great thing. Even with the 30-second delay, it's a really big feature. It really brings a lot to the table. It allows the audience to get engaged. I mean, what I know, probably at least 25% of football fans or soccer or baseball or whatever sport yell at the game, yell at the TV because they think they have a better idea of what the coach should be doing in the situation, or want to shout out the play that they think is coming next because they have such good knowledge of the playbook. They want to be like, all right, I'll show you, calling it out, and then the next play comes up, oh yeah, you see, I called it, and then making a game out of that sort of thing. But you can't really log on to the chat channel for a TV station, and that'd be impossible to do anything with anyway. There'd be a million people chatting in there. You would, every line of text would be, gone off into space by the time it's already been typed and entered. But the idea that you can have that much interaction with the team, because it's not teams that have 10 million people watching them quite yet. I'm hoping eventually the game gets up to that point. But you got a small team. You got maybe on a good team on a good night, maybe a few thousand people watching. You can get a lot of people who are really feeling connected with the game and engaged, even if the team isn't actually able to really see a lot of what they're doing and communicate back, to at least see that there's the feedback and that there's the support for them. That's a big deal for a team, and likewise for the team to, or for the viewers to see that, I can actually talk to the team, and every now and then they'll give a shout out, or maybe they'll even give one of the team's custom decals or skins or hats or whatever that they give as special giveaways, and I'll be able to win one just for watching them. So a lot of really good stuff I can see between the people playing the game and the community engaged in watching the game.
That's funny you speak so much about it, because it is actually the first feature we have designed for this game. Was that we had no idea that it would be a 3v3 physics-based with a puck. We had no clue what the game would be, and yet we really wanted the one thing you are explaining, to happen. Our challenge, our objective with this game was to kind of answer the question, what is the future of eSport? What does a game need to be the next big thing in eSport? And we have kind of just started from this core question, and we have identified a couple of answers. And for instance, the one topic you're speaking about is the fact that player want to, like the fans want to kind of somewhat be an active part of they want to kind of feel like they're making a difference in helping their team, and that what their cheering is meaningful. And in hockey we call the crowd the seventh player.
Yeah.
In the gladiator arena, the crowd could decide whether someone survive or dies, right? And like the crowd wants to, the fans want their voice to have a meaning and to create a difference. So this was one of our core principles. We wanted also it to be watchable easily. We wanted like for anyone who does not understand, because right now the biggest eSport are StarCraft and League of Legends, and honestly those games are maybe not StarCraft, but still it's not StarCraft anymore, but still it's still a big one.
Yeah,
and,
well, maybe not in the United States, but I think in like Korea, for example, I think it's still pretty huge.
Yes, definitely, and those games are awesome, honestly, but they are not kind of watchable for someone who does not master the game. You could not like put it in a random bar and have the people cheer around it, right? They could not be like so mainstream that anyone can follow. So this is why we designed the game this way. We wanted it to be centered around a single focus that everyone understand, a disc, something that like, because like in most big sport right now there is multiple things happening on the playground, each with like various amount of impact on the general progress and victory of the game, and it's hard to understand exactly what is good and how good is it and what should I watch exactly, and that makes it a bit hard to watch for someone who is not used to the game. So this was another of our pillar. And actually what we did is really we kind of identified all the key things we felt like the future sport. And another thing is we needed to be like soccer in the sense that everyone can get the basics within 30 seconds, 1 minute, right? In soccer, it's like, okay, you have to push this thing in this zone. You got it, right? It's it's as simple as like understand, and then there is still unlimited amount of depth, and this is why we kind of control this. We designed this analogical direct control scheme where it is really easy to get, but at the same time, since it's analogical and really based on your hand movement, it creates for unlimited mastery potential. And the more you practice, the more you get increasingly good. And honestly, right now, our hardcore fan, I have no fucking chance to win against them because they have mastered it to such a bigger level. So we wanted it to be really so easy to watch, active part of the spectator, easy to learn, hard to master. So actually, this was the initial thoughts behind the project, and then we just established those pillars, those values, and we tried to develop the game around those concepts. And this is what led to the birth of Arena Cyber Evolution, the way it became. We also wanted it to be really teamwork oriented. This is why the fuel, the pass, the way that the game, the power structure, where you cannot really score alone, but there's still some improvement. So yeah, this is the spectatorship, the accessibility were actually our core values, and we do believe that honestly, if we do manage to make the dedicated server work properly, we have something that has like freaking crazy potential. At PAX Prime, people were just cheering and just queuing, and people kept coming back 3 or 4 times in a row. So in good condition right now, the game is really, really fun to play. So. Hello? Did I lose connection?
No, you didn't lose connection. I muted because I didn't want to speak over you there. So we've actually got a couple active players in this game. We've got a goalie and one of the strikers.
So let me watch. There is. You mean in the?
Yeah, in the match I'm playing right now.
In the red or blue?
Both of them are on the opposite team.
Yeah. Okay. Have you realized that it's not possible in this game to play as a red player.
No, I didn't even... Yeah, that makes sense.
The cop now, when he calls his drones, they now have like a police alarm that rings, and honestly, it makes them much more epic. It really makes it feel like the police is coming.
Oh, right. Oh, no. Because the goalie wasn't in, or it wasn't in the goal area, I couldn't actually score there. Whoops. Come on, teammate. There we go. Haha. That's another point. Yeah, fun stuff. What was that cartoon-looking thing on the thing at the top in the middle of the you know, that big viewer box at the viewers watch or whatever? I saw something that looks like a cartoon.
Where?
You know, above the middle of the arena where like the big screens and stuff that the viewers would be watching. It looked like there was some sort of a cartoon playing up there or something, or some
Normally, it is a viewport. It should show the camera watching at your character.
Interesting.
Yeah, we are trying to find ways to, because the characters are a bit small on screen, and we are trying to figure a better way to showcase them like better in the screen, so that you can see whatever your skin, your customization.
Oh! Oh man! I hit him with the explosion. He scored an own goal.
Yeah, that's a nice trick. Okay, so you're playing Vexricker, right?
Yeah, it's so powerful. That explosion is beefy. Oh, whoops. Oh well. We can recover.
Oh, okay, I just saw it. That's cool.
Damn. I'm out of explosions for the match, but it's going to be a really big upset for them to be able to score 3 more points in a couple of minutes here.
If you play defensively a bit.
Oh, I almost scored that if I was just a little bit later on it. I fired before I even got going because I know that goalie likes to rush ahead. Haha. Oh! Score! Good job, teammate. This is...
Okay.
I gotta say, this is a lot of fun. Now, the thing is with esports, simple really is best in terms of something that people can watch and enjoy and can, you know, talk about with their buddies. When I think about like street fighting games, or even simpler like Nidhogg or Hokra was another game that was just like, there's a goal here, there's a goal here. You've both got little paddle-looking things. You can press a button to charge. You can press a button when you've got the ball to pass. And that's it. Just total minimalist esport. Super awesome.
Yeah, but I think that for me, the games I respect the most are those who manage to have this one single almost button or control that you get it like instantly. And as you get good at using, you suddenly realize how much depth and how much possibilities and option it opens. But it's really based on your understanding and of this power rather than on the complexity of the interface or whatnot.
Right.
And honestly, this is what Nintendo, for instance, Nintendo freaking built a freaking empire based on the jump mechanic.
Yeah, that's true.
This is what they did. And I really respect this type of approach, and I think that at Spearhead we are definitely Nintendo fans, or at least fans of what Nintendo has been in the past.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're still doing a lot of good stuff. They're still, you know, actually, I feel like they've been getting better about supporting the indie community over the past few years.
They are great. Honestly, Nintendo is a good company, and I was convinced that actually Wii U would be Oculus Rift before it went out, and it would have made total sense for them to make that, because first they are the best when it comes to designing ergonomic experience that work, that the player can understand. For instance, they took this Wii controller, this Wii remote, and they made tons of cool experience where in reality it actually didn't work. So, and they still managed to figure how to make it work and like what they could make really that made sense with that, where no other company understood. So they are really the one company who could figure how to leverage a 3D Oculus Rift-like type of interface. If anyone can do it, it's really Nintendo, because this is the offline user-based experience. This is like their core expertise. I do believe like they are the best company in the world to make it happen. Plus, they have they have started to experiment with it in the time of Virtual Boy, which failed. As much as the Power Glove did fail. Power Glove was the ancestor of the Wii Remote, right?
Yeah.
So Power Glove is to Wii Remote what Virtual Boy could have been to Oculus Rift or whatever they choose to call it. And I was really convinced that their move, the one thing that they should have done for the next step, is to be the first one to make a 3D virtual reality-esque. But they did not. They actually. But so you figured what they tried to do, right? With the Wii U, they kind of thought, okay, the 3DS sells really freaking well, so let's try to have it in the living room, the dual screen experience. So we'll be able to kind of port everything we learned from the 3DS in the living room, and hence we will make a super successful console as well. So they went somewhat for a safe choice, even though it proved that safety is not always safe.
Yeah, no, but the other thing is, though, Nintendo, among all of them, has been very much about being the most family-friendly and kid-friendly of all of the consoles. The GameCube controller, for example, big red A button in the middle, because that's what drives the action. And then the next biggest button next to it is the B button to cancel out, which is also going to be the easiest one to reach. So even in the design of the controller, it's meant to be intuitive and simple and easy for anybody to get into. Beyond that, they very rarely have games that are like super violent and graphic. Usually, the most graphic their games get is minimal blood and guts, or sports games, which are a different kind of violent. But I would say that they really focus on a lot more like titles and content that is playable by everybody and enjoyable by everybody. The Wii, not even talking about Wii U, but just the Wii itself, the Sports Resort or whatever, the little sports 9-pack games that the console came with, and they had another one later. Those were super fun. They're very simple graphics. They're just using your little me character, which I think is also smart, that you can make your own avatar and play it in games. That's really engaging. But it's just that everything they're trying to do is trying to move forward in one direction, while at the same time keeping to their core mechanics of making things user friendly and kind of family friendly.
Yeah, but actually this is interesting, because it's so you're right, and it is actually the result, because most of current successful studios, not all of them, but most of them, in their development and creative approach, are extremely top-down, in the sense that they come with this vision. Imagine you are this guy who's trying to survive, and it will use like the Resident Evil type of shooting, or the Gears of War cover and shoot, but it will be in this post-apocalyptic world. So it starts with this vision, right? And then the mechanics are built to reinforce those narrative concepts. And actually, Nintendo and Spearhead as well is bottom up. They don't have most of the time the vision of what they're trying to do. They have prototypes, they have mechanics that work and that create like cool feeling and that have depth and that are fun. They create cool toys actually, and then their graphic and the packaging they put like the visual they put around it is actually meant to help the player understand what their mechanics are. It is meant to help player understand what the mechanics are about and like increase the ergonomy. So they actually don't fulfill the same role at all. The graphics, in the case of Nintendo, are meant to help the player understand the core mechanics that when were designed had actually no intent other than being a cool toy that is fun to manipulate. So this is why you can feel such a big difference. It's actually a complete different train of thought that leads to their graphic compared to someone who is trying to make an immersive experience that will convey this narrative concept. So they are actually. I think that the family friendliness is because what they're trying to nail is we want it to be easy to understand, ergonomic, understood by everyone, as opposed to we want to convince the player that he is a badass shotgunning people in the face in this post-apocalyptic world.
Right. For sure.
1 second, I will get some more coffee.
Okie dokie. Whoops. Did not catch that pass. Nice. Scoring on these two players again. Looks like this time they allowed the computer to play the goalie, which was a wise decision.
Alright, back.
Welcome back.
Are you really from Holland?
No. No, that's just my last name.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we kind of have an interesting situation here because me plus 2 computer players is going to be better than these 2 level 3s and their 1 computer goalie.
Which means that you have become super good.
No, if I played against that level 19 who smoked me the other day, I think I'd still fare about the same. Man, they were super upgraded too.
Yeah, some of our players have become so fucking good. It's just insane. I have tried the last time I tried to play against one of our fans. He just crushed me 15-0.
Yeah, well, I mean that's there's only so much time you get to have mastery of the game. There's some games where I can understand the person who made it being the most knowledgeable and most able to complete it. Like if I made a roguelike, for example, I would know kind of what the progression of things is, how difficult things are, how tough I need to be able to take things on, the patterns of the enemies. So, if I was playing Rogue or Dungeon Mans or, one of the many awesome roguelikes out there, I'm not going to have the same knowledge as the person who made it. But this, there isn't really that much to know. It's more techniques, tactics, reflex, and if you're working with AI, it's kind of learning how to use the AI and trick the AI like I just did. Like I demonstrated the last time, the goalie's not really good about the run defense there.
Yeah, it is very skill centric. Honestly, like there is not much more to understand in the game than what you do already understand if you played like a couple of games. And but the thing is, there is actually much more depth. When we kind of interviewed the champion of the last tournament, and there is actually what we realized that really makes the difference is the team play, the synergy, the way that the player coordinate themselves and they work as a team. So having the skill is a really important thing, but then what really makes the difference is, does your skill is inscribed in a like coherent tactic that you all buy into or not? And this is honestly what made the difference, because there was 2 or 3 teams that had like a super expert striker that would never miss, and in their case they did not have a superstar player. But what really made the difference is that they did practice as a team 3 hours per day, and they were
That's big
strong
time.
as a yeah.
That's huge. That's so much. That's a lot of professional quality practice to be getting in. They really must have wanted that win. What was the
They
prize
did.
for the first tournament?
$600.
Yeah, well, they earned it.
Yeah, they definitely earned it. Another subtle tactic that I did not realize that exists in the game is the way the camera works. So the camera, what it will do is it will just make sure to always frame you and the puck. So if you go away from the puck, the camera will zoom out, which kind of means that the goaler, when he is in a defensive stance, tends to have a more zoomed out camera, which means like a better overview of the whole action. And this was okay. You're fucking crushing them.
Yeah, I know. It's the same guys that I played in the last game, but like I said, they left it up to the computer to do the goalie, which goalie can block my shots really well, but if I just run it up in there, they can't do anything about it.
Yes, this is being addressed. There is actually a trigger that does not work. Okay, so for me, I was just amazed that the subtlety of how the camera works would imply that since the goaler has a better overview most of the time, he would be in charge of coordinating the action for the two others by giving them the information that they cannot see.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's great. I
yeah.
think that's really smart.
I was really impressed by the level of finesse of their rationale behind the strategy and the tactic they would use.
So here's a question. Right now it appears everybody runs backward with the disc as they approach because you don't want to have the disc grabbed out of your hands. But at the same time, it seems like I don't know if it would be better or worse, but it almost seems like you would want to have more speed going forward, so that way it's the trade-off that you're more vulnerable, that someone can grab the puck from you easier, or the disc rather, but if you turn around before they get close enough, they can't get you with it, or they can't hit the disc in your hands with one of their projectiles, because they're just going to hit you in the back and it's not going to do anything. So
shit, it really sounds like a super fucking awesome idea. Okay, no, but honestly, yes, shit. I don't know why we did not try it.
I'll say this though. At the same time, it means you're more dangerous because when you're in scoring range, because you're going to potentially be going faster than you normally would, because you're now heading towards the goal with the disc, and I'm not sure if that would make things more difficult in a good way or not. But something that you could also do is weight the amount of speed for what direction you're going based on where you're at on the board. Maybe if you're on your side of the board, you'll move faster if the disc is headed forward, versus when you're on the opponent's side, you'll move faster if the disc is headed towards your goal. So that way it kind of encourages you to be more defensive, but you also can't just run straight at the goal and not have other people catch up to you. So
Okay, seriously, there's really a level of I do like your first idea of saying like potentially having your character who like having a risk reward concept where you take more risk then you have more reward. So if you play really offensively, then you get a bit faster. There's kind of a level of depth I feel that could really be added. So I feel like there's not quite enough like mastery compared to what I would like, and I do like those kind of idea. I really like this suggestion. Actually, I will ensure we test it next week.
Nice. I guess it would actually be the way I'm kind of thinking about it in my head is maybe if the angle that you're facing is the angle that you're moving, you move at 100% speed. If the angle that you're facing is opposite the angle that you're moving, you move at, say, 90 or 95% speed. And somewhere between that, there's a bit of a gradient. So if you're only sideways, not fully forward or back, then you're still going to be moving somewhere halfway between the 100% speed and the 90% speed or whatever it would be. So that way people can kind of weight it a little bit instead of running with the disc fully forward. They can kind of have it off to the side a little bit. They can try to juke players by having the disc one way, making them think, oh, well, the player's going to keep going that way because they're going to try to outrun me. And then when the person commits to that direction, they swing around the other way, and they've already got that person committed that way, so they can sneak around.
Yeah, it is very smart. I'm not sure if it will concretely work, but it's definitely worth giving it a try.
Yeah. Or not even necessarily if you have the disc. Whether or not you have the disc, it could potentially, work that way. So that way, I guess it also rewards you if you're charging straight at someone, you're trying to grab the disc from them, you're going to be moving at top speed versus if you're trying to kind of back up a little bit and maybe be able to catch it, but trying to set up for an intercept sort of thing, then I could see maybe moving just a slight bit slower. So yeah, definitely different ways that you guys can approach it here.
That sounds cool. Yes, it's another thing that we're not using I realized this week is the distance between your cursor and your character. So I just realized that we are not using this notion at all. So potentially there could be something where you could also tweak the strength of your shot based on how far the cursor is from your character. So it would kind of not slow down the pace, but still add somewhat a bit of depth and a bit of more mastery to get. But I never thought about like using the character facing to influence and affect the movement, and it's actually very smart.
Yeah, actually, the idea of using the cursor to the pointer to add more action to the things, that really sounds great, because you can have things where you put a line across the ground and it slows people down if they go through it, or being able to put the vector down for the approach of some projectile that comes off from the side or something. A lot of stuff like that could definitely come from it, or just having something where you shoot and then you've got the mouse cursor somewhere, and when you use your ability, it homes in on where the cursor's at. Maybe there's a little indicator that you're using the ability, so someone can try to respond to it, or maybe it has limited range, so it can't be used to hook a shot all the way around the arena or whatever. Another idea, different types of discs. We have the current type of disc. I could see ones that are heavier, see ones that maybe are bouncier, or ones that slow. They throw really fast, but as soon as they hit a wall, they just stop there. All sorts of different variation. One that it's got a little bit of a kind of squiggle to it, so no matter where it's being used and how it's being used, it's always kind of a little off, like an unbalanced sort of disc. That sort of stuff.
Okay. That's really interesting as well. It would be the cool thing with the disc is this is definitely for us super easy to make. Like to just change the parameter, change the weight, change the bounciness, change like the size. And potentially, if it's interesting, it could add more variety. If each game would have different object, it would not make it harder to read, and yet it would kind of add the more variety for not too much investment for our part. So, so I am not sure 100% about this one though, because like if there is like substantially different disc, how will it affect players' learning curve, in the sense that will they be able to kind of master the game and understand well what's happening if the ball change every match, but
I've got the answer to that. The disc is always the default one unless all of the players in the match are level 5 or higher. Then them or perhaps the viewers can vote on what the disc is going to be for the next match, or even change the disc maybe at like a halftime or between scores or something. Once you're at level 10, everybody in the match is level 10 or higher. It's maybe 2 or 3 different discs that you can select from. When you're all the way up to level 20, maybe there's 5 or 6 different discs, because at that point there is an issue with mastery. You've gone up to level 5, you know how to use the regular disc. You've gone up to level 10, you know how to use the 2 discs. And then by the time you're at level 20, 5 discs, that's probably not too much to master, and I think it'll add really a lot more flavor to the game and give people a lot more. Not that there isn't already a lot of fun stuff and a lot of variation and a lot of the variation that comes from the tactics, but this is definitely one more element that could be added, and whether it's a viewer feature that's added or a player feature that they just vote on, or it could be a combination of the two. Um, I think that could be really really awesome, and definitely if it's something that's not a very difficult feature to put in, be something that could really kind of push the, I guess, end game sort of thing, that once people already understand everything, to really start learning, like, okay, what's the fine tuning of the heavy disc when you use it during the ice event, and just getting really good at that, so when those two things come up, they can really dominate the other team.
That is really great stuff. I am right now sending an email to myself to ensure that those things will get tested. So yeah, it's really great. It's really great stuff.
I would almost say just put it out. Once I've got the interview here up on YouTube, just send it to everybody on the team. Say, hey, we got a lot of good ideas here.
No, I will tell. I had ideas.
Yeah. There's some awesome stuff. I mean, there's so much already going well with the game. Now, on this
This
menu,
is why like opening the game makes so much sense, because we have so much like our face in the project, that like just having someone else that has like a better perspective and like who has a fresh look on it, like can just open our eyes on something that we just forget to see anymore. So that's really great.
yeah, movement speed bonus after a successful pass. Well, why wouldn't I want to do that? That seems awesome.
It is some okay. We are redoing every icon. We feel like those drawing gives you so no clue about what the thing is doing. But what the thing is doing is it's actually, I am not quite sure honestly about the design of this one, but it is actually meant to be a support implant, where when you do pass to someone else, it increases his speed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I want. I think that's awesome. That's a really great feature, because if I'm passing it and they're in scoring range, they're going to be able to sneak by the goalie that much faster. Let's see if those players are still on, if I'll be able to get another game. Actually, I kind of want to see what Observe is like, because I haven't done that yet. Let's see. They don't have a game going. I wonder if they're viewers that just don't want to pipe in the chat room here. But all right. So what of the menu that I'm seeing here and all of this is stuff that you're going to change, or is this stuff that you've already worked on? Because it seems pretty solid and pretty intuitive already.
We are reworking everything.
Okay.
But the thing is, so first, okay, I'll tell you what is the biggest flaw I feel. So the two biggest flaw, in my opinion, are so the most like in your face way to buy things right now is through the store that is in the lobby. So there is a thing called customization, but like our metrics tells us that almost no player click on that. So actually, our most popular store in the game is in the lobby, and the lobby is a 60-second period, and the fact that you can buy stuff there is really not obvious. Honestly, there's like 10 layer of defense to prevent player from buying. First, they have 60 seconds. Second, there's no name. There's no name on the slots, so it's not easy to understand what is what in the store. Third, when we released, there was no way to buy. So when you release the game, everyone was in developer mode. So even if they did buy, it would not spend their money, and it would not grant us money. Fourth, like the only way to spend money was to have American dollars. It would not work on the other types of wallet. So we were kind of in this like, okay, we really made these 12 layers of barrier to prevent anyone from being able to pay. So this is one thing. The other thing is no one ever equips implant. Almost, it feels like the way it's presented, it's not very compelling. It's not clear what. How do you equip your implants? How they affect your character? We keep seeing these match with players that are level 15 or 20, and they don't even like equip implants. So we decided to really refactor it to clarify what the implant do, clarify what it does when you upgrade them, add more feedback on the fact that you equip them, honestly, just a huge ergonomy path to make this process more clear.
Will we have the ability to make and select quick builds like this hat, this outfit, and this implant is my ultra defense goalie, this hat, this outfit, and this implant is my kind of mid-range heavy striker defensive sort. Basically like 2 or 3 different configurations you have for the negotiator, and then when you're on the selection screen here, you click on negotiator, and then you click like 1, 2, 3, or F1, F2, or F3, or something like that, and you can just choose one of your configurations that's already set.
But for the next build, what we will have in this direction that we don't yet have is that every runner will remember which skin and hat and implants that you selected. So that if you want to reuse the same build, it will be saved. And if you switch character, each character will remember what build you had last time you played him. So this will already be an improvement. Having different setup per character, this is something we've been discussing, but we felt like already at least having each character having their own build would do a long way toward this, because most of the time you have your strategy with negotiator, you have your strategy with vengeful star, and there will be just slight variation. Because if you want to play, but I do agree that it would be nice to have different build possibilities, in the sense that you might be a total negotiator fan, and even when you play striker, you play negotiator striker, and you have like your build around this idea. But for now, it will not be part of the next push. But at least you will have a build safe per character, and you will be able from the store or from the menu to define your build before the match starts. So it will be already quite much better.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's gonna be really cool. When do you plan to have the? Is it all going to be one major UI overhaul pass, interface overhaul, or is it going to be kind of iterations as each feature gets completed?
So it will be a massive UI overhaul. It's I would say it's 70% done now, and it will happen. I think we will make it public November 3rd, but if I say November 3rd, we might be a bit late, so maybe November 5th, something like that, but during this week, the first week of November.
Gotcha.
But yeah, honestly, the new UI is really it's 10 times more polished and more ergonomic, so I think that this will make a noticeable difference.
Man, that's really weird. So this game's got some latency to it, if you've noticed.
And you are playing versus bots or what?
No, I'm playing against another player. I don't know who's the host.
Oh, yes. So it means that you are not the host.
Okay.
Right now I watched the match and you are not the host.
Oh, so this isn't on the dedicated server yet?
No, the dedicated server also will happen on November 3rd.
Gotcha. Very cool. Very cool. That's coming up really, really soon.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like they gave up or something.
Yes. This is another of the issue of having one of the player being the host. If he quits, it kills the game.
No, what I'm saying is I think they walked away for a moment there.
Okay.
Oh, there they are. Now they're back. Weird.
So I will have to go soon though. I have a dinner in like 30 minutes. So.
Oh yeah, no, I completely get you. That's all good. What's for dinner?
What?
I said, what's for dinner?
There is but there is my childhood friends who now is working in Israel, and he just comes back like once or twice a year, and we are going to the one place we really enjoyed when we were almost teenager. It's called Dragon Rouge. It means red dragon. It's a medieval type of restaurant where everyone is disguised as medieval people, and they play music, and it's like the most festive restaurant you can ever go.
Nice.
The people are just shouting and playing music, and it's just
Yeah.
super fun. And they actually serve you beer in a cauldron, and you have like a huge spoon to drink it.
Nice. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's a really nice place.
It's kind of like we have medieval times out here. It's kind of what it sounds like. It's a kind of a restaurant that has, well, it's a place that has all sorts of, it's like restaurant and show and all sorts of stuff. There's like the little jousting and stuff that they have in the middle in the dirt. You get big old muttons and stuff. That's really cool. I'm glad that. So is it a local thing or is it a franchise?
It is the local, but the owner has a couple restaurants that are based on similar concepts. So there's one for the time period when the first colons arrived in America. So I don't know what's the name of this time period, but he does these historical restaurants that are made to look and feel and serve the food from a certain time period.
Oh, like a colonial sort of thing. Gotcha. So
yeah, colonial, yeah. So we have the colonial.
We've got the official disconnect from the host here, and unfortunately, clicking on the.
So this is the huge issue, and this is really why we need this freaking dedicated server to happen.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Oh well, it's fine. Like a level 11 that's getting beat on that bad, it's fine that they rage quit. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna hold it.
What level are you?
I think I'm level 6 now.
Okay, so yeah, you are kind of you are ahead in terms of progression.
I would say
skill level.
It's not just that, but I feel like I really understand the game, and I can do really good work as a striker.
Yeah, definitely. You kind of really realize you picked up on this exploit.
That run.
So,
but
yeah,
that's the thing though, is if it was not as good at blocking my shots, I wouldn't be able to do the run because it would be better at anticipating when I try to run it in. Right now, it's going somewhere because it knows, oh shoot, if he tries to shoot, there's this entire field that he can be shooting, so I'm gonna put myself in a place where I can grab it. But when I get closer, it doesn't go, oh crap, I gotta jump on him right now, otherwise he's about to score right in my face.
Yeah, it's because there is one of his AI trigger that does not kick in. There's a bug.
Yeah, once that gets worked out, I'm sure it'll definitely be a much more challenging experience. But then again, that'll also give more opportunity to then pass it back to one of my teammates and have them try to score it from the other angle. So that's definitely something I'll be really excited for and really have a fun time trying out. That and the own goal thing, when they're right at the edge and they're like next to the goal and they turn a little bit and put the disc in the goal. That AI thing is kind of silly, but I know that'll.
Yeah, this is horrible when it happens. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I gotta say though, it's pretty convincing. Like they seem like they're playing pretty competently. There's some situations where I can get leverage on them, and there's some situations where I get no leeway whatsoever. If I try to do a pass even close to an AI, they automatically grab it. They're pretty much right on top of it. So And I guess that's one of the advantages of players, is they're more tactical in different ways, but they're also more fallible in different ways. So it's a completely different experience.
Yeah,
But
it's really something we're really learning stuff right now. This is a type of game and a type of AI we never did before. So we are really learning it as we do it, and yeah, I think that the next iteration will be really much stronger on every aspect. It was actually the first time we ever did sport AI. So like trying to figure the teamwork, the fact that they need to anticipate a bit the other team's movement, the fact that they need to switch from defensively to offensively. All these concepts are kind of alien to us, but we're getting on the top of it now.
awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if it was a game about pushing peasants out of the way while you sneak through a crowd, like that AI, I'm sure you guys would absolutely like nail in a week.
Yeah.
But this is a completely different beast. So on
Yeah,
that note, oh, go ahead.
no, no, no.
Uh,
No, but it's because I was in charge of the AI on Assassin's Creed 2, so yes, definitely, this is something that oh my god, I have a very specific, precise expertise for this type of AI. I have actually a skill set that has no use except for this one game, but but still, it kind of it kind of. A project that I give at least a bit of help on every year. So I suppose that it is not an obsolete skill set.
yeah, for sure. Well,
No, but it's because like
that's really cool.
even this year I went to give a bit a hand on Assassin's Creed to help them finish it. So
Gotcha.
so my expertise of the very specific type of AI you mentioned is not obsolete yet.
Actually, I would say it's quite the opposite. I think games are probably going to start doing it for more things than just, sneaking around and defeating the Templar. I can't remember. Are you defeating the Templars or are you the Templars? I have not played enough of the
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed games.
Oh, really? But because normally you are the assassins, and which are the sworn enemies of Templars. This is what Assassin's Creed is about. And this year, though, there will be two Assassin's Creed, one set in Paris that follows the same formula, and there's also one set in New York, I think, or at least in the northeast of America, and. In this case, you play the Templar for the first time, so you kind of fight assassins and you kill assassins.
Interesting. Well, that'll definitely be a different experience for folks. But yeah, that'll be a lot of fun for everybody to look forward to. I definitely want to let you get going to dinner here. We're actually getting pretty much towards the end of the time here, so um, gonna definitely start wrapping up here. So everybody, anybody who's watching here on YouTube, anybody sticking around in chat here, I am Legendary Neurotoxin. This awesome fella, Simon. I'm gonna butcher your last name, so please give us your first and last one time for the folks.
In English, you would pronounce it Simon Darveau. In French, we say Simon Darveau, so we don't pronounce the R the same way. But yeah, Simon Darveau. The EAU part of it is just pronounced simply O.
Gotcha. Very cool. Very
So
cool.
yeah, that was really nice, and I would really enjoy if you are available doing it again. Maybe when we release the next push or something, so we can discuss about the updates and what is coming in the. Because honestly, the next push will do a great deal of preparing most of the technical aspect, improve the ergonomy, make the progression more satisfying. But I do believe that the real important, meaningful push will be the one after it, because we want to actually introduce a ranking system that will allow players to progress through leagues and like set themselves uh, compared to the rest of the community and have like those seasons that start going. So it will not be part of the early November push, but definitely it will be part of the one push after this one.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, absolutely. As Lord Wiki here is saying, thank you very much for coming, and it was a great interview. Really, really I had a pleasure talking with you. You know, even like that first 45 minutes where we weren't even talking about the game at all. That was a lot of good conversation. I really enjoyed what we got to talk about there. I'm definitely excited to be able to talk with you more when when the next big tournaments go in and as more features keep coming through, and just in general, I'd love to be able to get a game going with Spearhead on the dedicated server, just to kind of test my skills a little bit against a bit of a seasoned team, and yeah, should be a lot of fun. But this is definitely wrap up time. So if you folks want to try this game, this awesome game from Spearhead Games, Arena Cyber Evolution, just go on Steam and download it. It's free. It is free. Definitely get a piece of it. And on that note, we are going to be wrapping up. So thank you all very much for coming. I will see you all Monday for more Who's Gaming Now action. And of course, next Saturday, more interviews. So see you then.
Ciao, guys.